What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Carpo's channel. And I'm sitting outside in my beautiful backyard with all my tools and my garden and all the things that make me who I am. And I thought I would tell you a story about the time I went to an ICP concert. I thought it would be kind of fun. Seems like it deserves its own video. Okay, so when I was younger, my brother, let's just say when I was about 21 to 22, maybe 23, my brother introduced me to Insane Clown Posse. This was around the time when The Great Milenko was quite popular, which is one of their albums. And there was a song called How Many Times, and it was about sitting in your car waiting for a traffic jam, finding out that it was just everybody rubbernecking from something that happened on the other side, being in a courtroom, dealing with problems that, a lot of people can understand. The humor in it was too much. I loved him. I fell in love with this. Now, ICP is very vulgar. Many of their songs deal with dead bodies, and their whole theme is a carnival. I loved it. I thought it was great. And, I think it was kind of ironic as a philosopher, thinker type, somebody who kind of scoffed at like stupid rap. I just loved Insane Clown Posse. And I could still cringe at what they said, but their beats were just amazing. Great bass lines. Violent J and Shaggy 2 Dope were the name of the guys. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about the band themselves or the rappers themselves, but let's just say over time they became quite controversial and became quite vulgar, and then they kind of flipped their mode and it revealed that we've been Christians the whole time, everything was about God, and it got really weird really quick. So I'm going to back up for a minute. Before that happened, back in about 2005 maybe or 6, ICP came to play in Portland at the Roseland Theater, which is a pretty brutal place. It's kind of where you see grungy bands and stuff gets thrown around and it's a mosh pit and it gets pretty wild. So I decided, in my great wisdom, I was going to go down there. Now, even at that age, now at the time I was probably only like 30, okay? Maybe 32. And maybe it wasn't even that long ago, but I was definitely in my early to mid 30s. And I'm 45 now, so it was 12 to 15 years. Sorry. Trying to get that straight. It's been a while. And I still, even at that age, 10, 15 years ago, felt like I was the oldest person in line. And I was pointing out the age thing because I went to an Excision concert for a few years in a row. I went like 2013 or 15, 16, 17, 17, 18, and 19, I think. But anyway, I like Excision. It's heavy bass, and I was by far like one of the oldest dudes in there until I saw this way old guy, and I was like, alright, cool, I'm not that old. Maybe he worked there, who knows. But I still danced harder than all those kids, which was the funny thing. And I feel like at ICP, I thought I'd have a great time. I was waiting in line. Everybody's dressed like clowns, right? Everybody's got the makeup on, doing their thing. And we finally get inside the theater. Once you get in there, they had a rule and a sign that said, no makeup allowed. And it was this huge, big fucking controversy. So people were like having to take off their makeup and shit. And then they would like sneak into the bathroom and put it back on. And it was just, it's funny because I totally forgot about that until I just remembered it as I was telling the story. And I guess that's why I love telling stories, because you forget parts. So we go upstairs. The Roseland Theater has 2 levels. One's for 21 and over and one's for minors. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't recall. Some shows, there's just no alcohol served, and I think, and other ones, it's like, I think that was one of the ones where the upper level was just pretty much empty because there weren't many adults there. And the lower was filled with people just moshing and going crazy. Now, the show was wild in its own nature. I had a great time. I was out there on the dance floor having a good time about 2/3 of the way up to the stage, and all of a sudden they bring out a wheelbarrow full of Faygo. That's F-A-Y-G-O. And for those from the West Coast, you're only familiar if you've been to the East Coast or you're familiar with ICP, but Faygo is like a generic drink. It would be like their Shasta Cola or whatever from the East Coast, and their version of a generic soda. So they bring out a wheelbarrow. They rap about it a lot. So they bring out a load of it in a wheelbarrow, and they'd shake them up while they're rapping, and they'd slam them down on the ground. And the caps would fly off, and they would shoot off like into the audience. From what I remember, it was pretty fucking crazy. And they would like huck them, and they would shoot off in the distance. I'll never forget standing there, like, because I'm pretty tall, 6'2", you know, I could see over most of the people. And I saw this 2-liter bottle just shoot off into the crowd. And it just flies across and just goes boom, and hits this girl like square in the face, knocks her right out. I don't know if she actually was knocked out, but she went down. It was a crazy event. And I remember that night I went home and I got back into my car, and I was like just so sticky. I drove home, got out of my car and looked down, and I was just, from head to toe, my clothes were just completely covered in Faygo soda. And all I could think was, so was everyone else in there, and holy crap, that place must be a disaster. So that's my story of going to an ICP show. It was a blast. Had a great time. I have nothing against juggalos or ICP fans. There's a lot of controversy around that, being labeled as a, you know, terrorist organization and all this shit. But the point is that the whole thing is like a joke, and you have to understand that. And it's an extreme form of sarcasm. So anyway, I can respect it for what it is. That was my show experience, and since then I have gradually grown to like them less and less. A lot of their early stuff I still like. It's fun. Riddlebox and Malenko and some of these albums. But I don't like any of their new stuff. I don't give a damn for when they completely went on this God trip, and it's not because I'm anti-religious. It wasn't just them, it was just I lost my interest in bullshit and rap for a while. But, at the same time I was into ICP, I was into a lot of other things like Eminem, so, it just kind of comes and goes. So, there's my ICP story. Thanks for listening, and I will talk to you next time. Peace out.